basically finished all the topics.
Yeah.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the 54th episode, and this is our first episode of the year,
Yeah.
2020. How do you call it? 2020 or 2020?
20.
The 20s.
Oh, the 20s. Okay.
You mean after World War One and the
Yeah.
crash, the
The,
big crash?
the Great Depression period.
Yeah. Ignore me. I'm just crazy. So that being said, I'm swimming.
I am
Yeah, I'm
Tristan.
Oh,
Chile. I forgot. I'm Chile.
yeah. So, what's happening soon? That's the first one.
For this few months, it's still a bit slow because it's still because we have an extended festive season, so the events and stuff are still a bit gradually coming up. So for this week, we only have a past meetups in Ras meetup and Ruby
Ruby.
meetup. Yep,
Mhm.
at the same place. So Rapid River seems to be like the most active place so far into 2020. So
Yeah.
and on the
Is
weekend,
there a leaderboard? We should have a
Yeah.
leaderboard like
we should have one.
the places.
Yep. We should come up with a simple one. So, and on Saturday we have Junior Dev Learn Up. So they're
Yep.
gonna cover in Work KL. Kudos to Tevin to try to come up with it. They're gonna do learning series about Kubernetes.
Yeah, Tevan says juniors only.
Yeah, juniors only, unfortunately. So, oh, howdy, Mr. Howdy. And
So,
on
yeah.
Sunday, we have what is this? Design Thinking. Who actually organized this? Nation Building School. So it's part of Tech
okay.
Ups. It's part of Tech Ups. So
All right.
Tech Ups is initiative by the IO Foundation. So yep. Check them up. They've been having a regular, very useful workshop, whole day workshop. So it's gonna be at Collabs, the Starling. So they've been collaborating. They've been collaborating with Collabs. Yep. And that's about it for the rest of the week.
Cool. So, anything happening for the past few weeks or so that's interesting?
Not technologically interesting, but politically interesting, I guess.
Okay.
Why?
Anything goes
What do you
nowadays.
mean? Tell me.
There's so many of them.
Like Swimming has been reading his unit testing book all week long. Yet last week
Yeah.
he never knew
Yeah.
what happened.
I recommend it.
So Swimming should give us his review again. Apparently today everybody is get into the preparation room too early, and we actually sort of finished all our topics prematurely.
We can do it again. So I think we started with I think it's New Year, New Toys or something, right?
Yeah, New Year, New Toy.
Yes.
Yeah, New Year resolution, not 4K definitely.
I don't have a good one, but
I did. We didn't mention it, Justin. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, Justin talking
So
about.
Swimming. Let's start with Swimming.
Yeah.
So
What do you
new
get?
toy. What's your new toy?
What's your freshest
I
one?
got my freshest one. So, do anybody? I suppose a few of us actually know the webcomic comic strip.
Yep.
Do you know what is comic strip?
Yep.
So, comic strip had a Kickstarter late last year, November. So, the Kickstarter is about producing a book, a printed version of their comic. So, they finally arrived. So, here it is. So, this is the comic strip comic. These don't just have some of the old comic and the new one. They also have something that is custom made only for this book. So as you can see, these are the comics and all that. And interestingly, the chemistry people are from France. This delivered from France. But I do not just get this guy, right? I get a bundle that contains a reprint of the last book. They won't print it again. So this is the last. This is their first Kickstarter, the first version of the comic. Then in the bundle, it comes with posters, a lot of posters. So hacking before it's cool. What else? Something funny. Fixing is failing. So, so the thing about I find their poster is a bit ironic. I think that's a point, but the comic are not usually ironic. Sometimes it's pretty rare. And here's an interesting one. Testing is doubting. So yeah, I think their humor is a bit off, but I don't know. My team in the office had a good laugh.
Are you putting that up in the office?
Yeah, this is more interesting as a motivation because peer review is literally a group of programmers supporting each other to get something to be clicked by a user. So, and final one from the poster is actually the final poster they have is this one. This is the typical. Let's see.
What does it say at the bottom?
UI affiliate.
It shows the
So
poster.
terminal forever.
Where's the root password thing that you showed earlier?
Oh, of course, the bundle also comes with the bundle that I get also comes with stickers. It's mine and all mine. So for example, they got the root password, but
What? Not Hunter 2?
then they got the rover. One of the story that I always like is the rover, the lonely rover on Mars. Then yeah, and finally, their testing is doubting stickers. And
Do you know that root password thing is from XKCD, right?
Yeah.
Just in case someone didn't know, like that Troubadour or something is from XKCD.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I think it got replaced with a horse thing. I forgot, horse battery something.
Yes.
Let's find out. Do you remember the
Folder?
number?
I don't remember.
936.
Wow. You memorized it?
No, I have it open.
Okay. I thought you're the.
Oh, finally,
You're the
this
dude.
is one.
I think Han is the one that memorizes the thing. SSH me.
So, and finally, my bundle also comes with the socks.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is my latest one. I get it for a while. Very interesting. The print is very high quality, and it's the job. And I just think it's cool because Comics have it free. They have some ads occasionally. But,
Can you buy? Can you still buy them after the Kickstarter?
I think they may do a limited run,
Okay.
but I can't find the link.
So right now, just if you're interested, just check them out.
Correct. So yeah, that's my first one.
Yeah, that's a comment. Swimming
Yes.
is the goodie man. I'm gonna name Swimming
Yes.
Goodie man.
Or Santa, but
we need
whatever.
we need a leaderboard for goodies as well.
Yes. Then my next one. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no,
What?
just go on.
So you know what? Before I go on next one, I got quite a few. Tristan, what do you have?
I only have one. It's
Yeah.
not even the real one. So I also backed a Kickstarter called the Bangle GS. So
Yep.
it's firmware that allows you to run JavaScript on your watch. So the way they did it is they don't actually do the hardware.
Yep.
So the guy who kickstarted it bought like a huge amount of China-made watches, like generic watches with like the Nordic chip. With the you can't really use it without the application, for example. And then it completely rewrites the firmware so that it would like the firmware itself is JavaScript. It's not like was it the Fitbit where you can write apps using
Yeah,
JavaScript? That's
correct.
you can, but the firmware itself is not in JavaScript. So if you delete all your apps, you still have the firmware, right? This one
Yeah.
you can end up with just like a terminal prompt or like a JavaScript prompt, and there's
Mhm.
nothing. It doesn't even tell the time because that's how uh, like the firmware itself is in JavaScript. So I bought one of those watches, the same thing from the Kickstarter, and then because it's an open source program, I flashed the firmware on it, so it looks like this right now. This is if you're interested in the watch itself. So I just removed the straps. The watch is called F the DT 18 or something. I forgot. DT number one. Sorry, DT number one F18. You have a lot of different things, so you can so the menu is like written in JavaScript. You can have your color picker thing. Oh no, wait, this is the spirit level. So these has sensors like GPS and those things. So you can
Mhm.
if you want to see all the other apps, you can go to bangojs.com/apps, and of course those are all like the bootloader is in JavaScript, the settings application is in JavaScript, so all of them are there, and it's an interesting thing. So it's quite cheap, and um, the important thing here would be the sensors. So because it's a lot easier to work with sensors. Like for example, the spirit level, right? You can
Yeah.
understand how the spirit level was done, like in order to balance itself, like on the plane. Whereas looking through, let's say, Arduino code or through C code, it's quite difficult to understand like what is happening, how to interface with the sensor. So that's why I really think that these things, that the smartwatch, it would be the how how the spectrum or the Apple computer of the 80s would be for our generation, for this generation. Because I don't know what how you got interested in programming in the first place, but um, that those were cheap computers that ran just an interpreter like BASIC, and then
Yep.
you had to write your own programs, right? So it's the same idea here, where um, it is a computer that is portable, that is with you.
Oh,
It can tell the time, but you have to program it yourself as well.
mm.
So that's
I shared
that's an
I
interesting
sh- I
thing.
shared the link. I
Is
found it
that
on
it?
Ali. I shared the link
It's
on
different.
the chat. It's DT number one. DT
F18.
18. Yeah. So
I'm not
it's
able to go to AliExpress. I'm not sure why. They're blocking probably, but
yeah.
I'm not sure.
It costs around $16 for
Yeah,
the
it's quite
watch.
cheap.
Yeah.
It's quite cheap.
Yeah, and there's actually an alternative one made with there's alternative one made with ASP32. The chip is more similar to the
Mm-hmm.
Mi Band. It's smaller,
Mm-hmm.
a bit expensive, but as interesting. It's programmable. It support multiple languages by default. So your favorite JavaScript is there, Arduino is
Yeah.
there. So, but you
So
don't get as much
the
sensor. That's a problem.
yeah.
This one have more sensor than that one.
So the thing about this is right, like the original firmware, and also if anyone's listening here, it's quite an involved process in
Yep.
flashing this. You might have to open it if you break it. I
Oh,
was
okay.
unfortunate enough not to break it, but you might have to open it, solder like wires, and actually debug the thing, right? So if you know what you're doing, then go ahead. Otherwise, I would suggest just to buy like the one that's already flashed, because that's already guaranteed to be working with JavaScript. Because the original firmware for this is like this application. So basically, it can tell the time, but you can't really use it. You can't set the time or whatever until you pair it with your phone. And the phone
Mhm.
needs to run an app. And the app, in order to run, has all of these permissions that it asks for, and which is like a bit can be a bit like, why are you asking for all of these permissions, right? And I think this is also the same reason why Um, like people keep making fun of the S in IoT
Yeah,
because all of these like calling home, right?
yeah,
Like you buy this internet connected like light or camera, but you have to download this application from some unknown manufacturer, and then suddenly they have like this password breach or like
yeah,
username breach somewhere. Whereas if you actually own the firmware, like I know exactly what is in the firmware because I flash it myself. I looked at the source code and I flash it myself. I compile it myself. Then that is more like a lot safer. I know this is not calling home to somewhere else. I know I don't need like the application. If I ever pair it with my phone, it's not going to be calling somewhere else. I know exactly what is going on. And it's the same with I probably with the IoT um, scenario where if you understand and set up your own home system because you know exactly what is happening, then you are a lot safer because you are
Yep.
now uh, you have you have knowledge about what is happening and you're
Yep.
not just blind.
You have
Oh, okay,
means
I'm
to
just going to trust some other
you
thing.
have means to not just rely on the default setting.
Yeah, and I think
It's
that's it's a I think we've talked about this as well. It's a very interesting generation where like people from like it's a sudden switch, right, from not connected to connected, and people,
yep.
you can see that people are struggling with it. That's why all of these like, oh, suddenly my Alexa is spying on me, or like the me home thing that, or people, yeah, I can see other people's
Yep.
pictures or whatever. It's because they were used to not having this kind of connectedness. Suddenly they all went, everything must be connected, but they don't have um, the security sense, the sense of security or sense of being secure with whatever they're doing because they did not grow up with this. They just like suddenly the world suddenly just tilted over to this
I
kind of
went to this
connectedness.
I went to this store at the lower ground floor in Wanutama where they sell everything IoT, if you know about it.
Hmm. No, I
And
haven't been there.
oh, there's this
it's
new shop. Okay,
yeah, there's
go on.
this new shop that they sell everything IoT, and people are buying bulks like the whole home automation system, like boxes
Yeah.
of them. Like I'm
Uh,
really worried, like if they set it up at home and just didn't change
Hmm.
anything, and they get like some creepy dude over the other end, like saying hi to the kids, and like just like the
Yeah.
Amazon Ring stuff.
Because
so you
they didn't grow up with this and they don't understand like this is a danger, right? But the
Yep,
generation that's growing up now, they are aware of this. They
yep.
are like they've known it because they grew up with it, and so like in 20, 30 years time they will understand and use all of these connected devices a lot better.
Yep.
well, there's actually a counter argument. There's actually two counter arguments here. You can see. Counter argument number one: uh, computers are everywhere and they do a lot of things, but people by nature will be consumers, which is why people buy iPhones and Mac, right? The only reason not as many people buy Mac for a computer is
But
because
that, again,
the computer are
because
cheap
com-
on the Windows
yeah,
side.
because computers, like I said, the this thing happened very recently. Like for example, if you're, let's say you're IKEA, right? IKEA furniture,
Yep.
you don't have any problems repairing it or like taking it apart or making it like better, for example, because you've known that this thing can be taken apart, repaired, and you have like ownership of it. Whereas computers, it feels like magical and like right now it can be just a consumer thing, but the
Yeah.
generation that's growing up now would understand that this is not just like this magical box. It's just one other IKEA furniture thing that I can tinker with, right?
Yeah, but there is actually a second part of argument. This argument comes from uh, Harari, Noah Harari, the author of *Sapiens*. He had a book called Homo Deus, the next generation human. The subtitle Homo Deus means the next human, the next Homo.
Deus actually means God in Latin.
Yeah, it's closer,
So,
a person that
yeah.
group that closer to God. So what argument is said for the future is people do not care. People do not care about out. As a result, the security will be less because the convenience that comes with it. Uh, you're right. One would hope that the current generation would get more knowledge to empower themselves. Uh, not in my circle, but in my circle, if I go and look into my circle of non-geeks, majority, which is the majority of people, uh, it's more likely people will be consumers. It's more likely people will just let it go.
I think
Right?
I think the more optimistic way to see it is that gradually people will be converged. Like people are gonna be like at least semi savvy and semi friendly to the end user, but things should eventually converge. So or
Mhm.
else you're gonna
Yeah.
lose. You're gonna lose control of like just like some of those farming equipments where they try to offload most of the functionalities to software and you cannot repair it. So if you really reliant on simplicity or what you call it, total for right now total user experience gain you're gonna be bad for the consumer in the long run.
Yeah. Uh, Another book I would recommend that is on top of consumer behavior and the new world is called The Poison Squad. The Poison Squad is a book about food safety. Why it's relevant here is because in the early 20th century, late 19th century, food science is getting advanced. Preservatives are everywhere. There's a lot of chemicals added to food. Uh, Chemicals, I mean, in general way, not anything. So people adding stuff anyway just to make food cheap. Uh, People do. There's no idea of enforcement. There's nothing. Yet there is fight for food safety. Food is safe to eat,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that's the future. Maybe it's something like this will happen on the digital front. I don't have an answer. I don't have a crystal ball, but one might hope. One might really hope. So that's to me is interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very cool idea. That very cool segue to something
Yeah.
unexpected.
What's
So
speaking of unexpected? What about the Klein bottle with
yeah,
like an unexpected twist in
Yeah, it's,
lanes?
it's zero volume. uh,
Well, it's
did you break it?
yeah, zero volume because it's a plane that
it's
connects
a
it,
yeah,
intersects itself or something, right?
it's a Mobius strip basically. It's a
But
3D Mobius
right,
strip. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a never ending loop.
Hmm. Where's your
Yeah.
picture?
I don't
Did
have a
you not take a
picture.
picture? Even just a picture of what you ordered. Like
Yeah.
what is a Klein bottle?
Okay. A kind bottle is wait, let me show it. I'm gonna show you on the
Oh man,
Facebook.
you,
But pictures and yeah, they don't really make any. I know the picture that the guy sent you.
Yeah, I'm
Like he
gonna
packed
share
it
it. So
oh
personally, right?
that's
yeah,
Cliff Stowe. It's not just
yeah.
a guy.
So he actually sent
Yeah,
me
the guy.
how he packed it. So like he made a and he wrote me he sent me a bunch of essay on this like 4 pages of them about what is a client model. So
Mhm.
like yeah, this how it look like, and it's actually Pyrex, and I'm surprised that it's actually weight heavier than it look. It's actually
Yeah,
pretty heavy.
and
So yeah, that's about it. I received it. That's my new toy for 2020.
but uh, I think you guys did not appreciate it, but this is the guy that caught the hacker
Yep,
in the 1980s. His book,
Yeah,
uh, Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was it?
Cocos Nest. Yeah, he pioneered.
Is still the textbook on modern
Yeah,
day hacking.
he sort of
yeah. No,
Uh,
pioneer.
Yeah.
threat detection and honeypot.
Yes. A lot of the practice that he do to hunt for discrepancy in the lab that he work in is still practice, not the same technology, but the same practice that's being used now. He's the one that set up the practice of
Yeah.
security auditing, blue team, and all that. So he's a
Okay.
legend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's
That
also a
aside,
nerd, but he's a legend.
that aside,
Sad though
DevKami,
that he just makes climb bottles now.
you just
I'm
fixate
just
that with
kidding.
kind model. There's the
Yeah.
See
website.
how the
Yeah.
mighty have fallen.
No, it's because the
Uh,
book that he wrote make him so much money. He don't actually need anything.
yeah. The quality of the climb model is really good. So I
Yeah.
would advise like anybody to get it if you're interested. It's pretty heavy, so
Yes.
do expect that. And he actually offer like a personal guarantee that if you receive it broken, he gonna just very nicely. The customer service is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like my idol all up there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Then you should get a climb bottle.
Yeah. And kind bottle is one of the most interesting mathematical object that I know of.
Yeah, it's also like the trivial is that is you'll be tempted to fill it up with water, but apparently it's very hard to clean it up afterwards
Yes.
if it's stained or if it grew like if you put it for a prolonged of time and if it grew like have a mold and something, it's very hard to clean them up.
Yeah. So don't do that.
No,
Somebody
it's
actually
fine.
did the
It's fine,
video.
but you have to understand that the risk of that.
Yeah.
How much was the shipping from the US?
It's cost the same as almost the same as the climb model.
Bottle itself,
Shipping is
wow.
around $20. So
Because
I
it's
don't.
heavy and it's fragile, right? So
It's fragile. He
the
actually packed it
cost
very
extra.
nicely. It's not as heavy. I got the medium one, which is $50.
Mhm.
So it's like half
Mhm.
of the price. But the shipping is very fast. Like I got it within a week.
Oh yeah, well, the UPS saver somehow is very fast. So I've been ordering stuff from DigiKey, and they like 3 days it arrives here and it's on my desk. It's
Yeah.
amazing, very
Uh,
fast.
yeah. Depending on how they, I don't know. Sometimes I get it really late. Like I received
Mhm.
he was using UPSP. I received package with UPSP that took like at least like 2 months to go through.
Mhm.
I don't know what's the difference, but I still have to pay for the shipping for other stuff. But this one was pretty fast.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Toy from on my side. I actually got a bunch of toys at the end of 2019, but it's not technically 2020. So
Mhm.
I got a VR goggles, Rift S,
Oh, which one?
the Rift S, the
HTC
Oculus
or
Rift. Yeah,
the Rift?
yeah,
Mhm.
Rift
I've
S.
wanted one, but I just don't have a laptop powerful enough to run it.
It's actually surprisingly pretty low on the requirement because they sort of reduce the refresh rate. So
Mm.
to
But it's
80
not.
and
Yeah, if you reduce the refresh rate, it's the immersion is not as good, right?
I don't know if for me it's okay. I'm not too picky, but it's definitely looks nicer than the first generations. It's pretty nice. The graphic wise is pretty. I mean, for my side, it's pretty nice. I don't get
Mm.
like that's why headache and stuff.
Mhm.
For that price, it's pretty good. It's a
How
entry
much was
level.
it, if you don't mind?
I get it uh for Malaysian ringgit it's 2,500 because I it's still pretty expensive. If you
Yeah.
can get somebody to get it for you, it actually costs around like $400. But because
Mhm.
I after I counted in like the shipping duty and stuff, it's actually much cheaper to buy local.
Mm.
So if you
Oh,
have a
because you have to pay
friends,
duty.
yeah, because if you have friends from Japan or coming from Australia and stuff, you can get it for pretty cheap, like over 1,000
Mm.
something. It's the duty that is very expensive.
What is Chris Lowe saying on the chat? Like when you start to cook at home, you will learn of fresh food versus preserved foods. When did we go into ingredients? Or are they they're going on a chat on by
Yeah,
themselves?
it's like I think
Okay.
I think the difference is like similar to what we talk about, like consumer versus the
Mm,
people who know how. So nowadays, like people are very savvy. I mean, sort of
mm,
might be too savvy in knowing what sort of food that we eat. But
mm.
a bit of off topic is that I'm consider myself a very futurist, even though I get bad stomach from simply eating anything. But I believe in most food in the 21st century are pretty safe. Like
Mm-hmm.
and like especially canned food are very advanced. Like all these packaged food are very advanced. Like
Yeah.
yeah, MSG is like really good.
MSG
I,
is not the worst thing on the
I
planet.
think we should embrace instead of afraid of this, like because MSG is like the glutamate. A bit off topic is that it's
Yeah.
natural occurring stuff. It just we bind it with salt and just
Yes.
make sure you don't you drink. I mean, stay hydrated after you consume. Like basically, like you should always stay hydrated anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. Swimming has more toys for us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little. It's more like book,
Round
so I
two.
spend
yeah.
some time. I read this book called The Art of Unit Testing. I try to see whether I can go to the first page. I already finished the book, and Kindle doesn't. It doesn't play nice with books that you do not download. So this one, I hope you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I got this from Manning on their sale. So this book is actually one of the recommended book. It's not the book, but it's one of the recommended one
Who actually what
for
on
unit
what
testing.
recommendation list? Right on the Goodreads
I
or
just got. It's not on the list I found. It was like the art of unit testing. Then I go through the review. Then I found a site that reviewing it from one of the more well known, more well known programming site that I forget the name about. So so that the reason why I even start looking at it is because uh, the reason I look at it is because Manning, the website actually had a sale, $20 for a book, and the book originally is sold for $49.99. So it turns out that I ends up paying like 20 plus US dollar plus delivery. I forgot, and also partly a happy accident because I bought the third version of this book. The third version of the book is actually written for JavaScript, but Manning had an early access program. So the book is still being written right now, and I get to review what is being written. So what this book is about is about unit testing, of course. How do you properly write unit tests? Uh, so they have this book is a bit heavy on tools. But unfortunately, this book is on C sharp. It's you need all the tools for you to actually help. So, for example, here's a question: uh, How do you mock? Let's say you do not have a mock library. Let's say you do not have a mock library. How do you create a mock of your object in unit testing?
You find out what the surface area of your or the API surface area of your object is, and then you make sure you use those.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but
So how you would do that in a C sharp object, for example, you only test one method at a time. You actually
mm,
stop out each of the supporting method so that
mm-hmm,
it will fake as a fake input so that it can only test the behavior. But to do that in C sharp, you should have interface so that you can create a object that implement the interface but also implement the particular method with all the fake up setup and all that. Then you can implement it. Then you import it to your test to run, right? But on dynamic languages, you can literally just use and fake a few things in between without using an interface. Interface is just a way for you to, just a best practice, but you do not need it. Oh my goodness, the devil is bad on my side.
No, it's okay on my side. You're okay on my side.
Okay. So, unit test for it is that they go a bit on tools because you have to do quite a lot of things on C#, which is a static language, for you to actually set up a test. So unfortunately, it's one of those behavior. But what this book also very good at is instead of introducing tools, is to introduce practice. So for example, I'm going to go very deep on why you want to use stub and all that by building your own stubbing tool. The reason they got good reason for it. The reason here is so that you can so that you know that you have to use a mocking library. That's one thing. Always a mocking library. For example, another thing that introduced is only one test at a time. Only one test at a time. So your test should accept one thing at a time. So for example, they will recommend that, let's say you had a function that multiple function call. You mock all those functions and you test for one function being called with the right parameter, for example. Setup function. We had a setup function that will run a setup and run the function and all that. He's not a believer in setup function. The reason is this: a unit test should be fast to run, and it should have minimal setup to worry about setting up a system to test. If you test multiple things to test, there's an integration test, not a unit test. So I'm a bit mix of that, but he's not totally wrong. And if you follow his style of building tests, you'll follow that you will write your code pretty modularly. Do not require multiple setup and all that. But in reality, it's not always this the case. But it will help toward that, right? So this book I still recommend, but I would suggest, as of now, I would suggest you wait for the third version to really come out first, because the reason I recommend is our circle are mostly using dynamic languages. The new version on JavaScript might.
So you're not recommending buying the C# version?
Unless you're a C# programmer.
Correct.
I guess so, or Java programmer.
Yeah, but doesn't mean it's worthless. It is useful in a way that they give very good practice. So they tell you like, how do you write a maintainable test, trustworthy test, and all that. And also, yeah. So the interesting thing is he don't believe in setup function.
I don't believe in setup functions. I injecting my own personal opinion. I believe we should write not too overdoing it, small functions, and separate the side effect function with side effects, like anything with database connection. Then let's say sometimes we write let's say we get data from a database and we kind of massage it to another format, and my advice is try not to lump them together. Like anything that's from external source, for the ease of testing as well, should be separated.
Yeah. So what you're saying is something like inversion of control style of design, I believe. I could be wrong. I suck at this confession kind. I suck at design pattern. Okay, I suck at design pattern. But the idea is the same. You should. So one of the things that I recommend is that instead of having something that a lot of setup, maybe design your method or function in a way that you can inject things to be. So, for example, we had a request library to do HTTP requests. Maybe it's a better idea to put
Mm-hmm.
an object. The parameter should accept an object that do some requests, or higher abstraction than just doing requests. And the reason is so that you can actually easier to request right now. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of these are good advice that we can follow actually. So
Well, they say the classics are really good advice, and that people are just rediscovering the same things that people
Yeah.
discovered 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's everything always new
uh,
again. Yay.
and
So
for
the
a very good reason,
yeah, so the C
for a
people
very interesting reason.
discovered what so the C people discovered what the Prolog Fortran people discovered. Then the Java people rediscovered those. Then the Perl, Ruby, Python people rediscovered Java. And then now JavaScript people
Yeah.
are rediscovering the same patterns. So that's
Yes.
quite interesting.
Uh, so software development, I
We lost
okay.
swimming.
Yeah.
So the industry tend to be very arrogant, and the new people always thought the new tools will always be better, and there always been new thing that try to
It's
replace the old thing. For example, the Prolog guys always think they're going to replace the old. I do not know where the hell they're going right now. And then you got a whole bunch of people that currently do not even know what the hell is logic programming. So, or functional programming, like awesome, and now people go to functions again because function have some very cool idea. Because we, as an industry, have tendency to be extremely confident about one thing for few months or a year or something, right? I remember that in school, I have a whole bunch of senior and lecturer that think Windows is the future confidently.
it is the future. You have WSL. You get VS Code.
Uh, yeah,
Eating the
WSL is
world.
interesting. Then I go in. I was telling everyone Linux is the future. Then at that time, at that moment, most people are using Linux. Uh, Linux desktop going nowhere. People, the development is focused on servers right now. Then
Yeah.
now the Windows guys are discovering Shell with PowerShell. Then they have
You-
Linux integration and all that. So
So you're saying that year 2020 is not the year of Linux desktop? Damn it.
no, it's a year of Linux desktop through Windows.
I actually stopped
So
using
you will use
WSL because it's too slow for the file system. What's good now is VS Code Remote. I think
Yep.
that is how like
Yep.
so now I have VirtualBox running right now, right? And then I just VS Code Remote into that VirtualBox. It's a lot better than WSL.
I
So
noticed that
Microsoft
I
is
was
doing something good.
I noticed that at work.
I was
It's not
thinking
verified, but WSL, even though it looks like Linux, but it has certain issue of allocating memory, just like Linux. So
yeah.
if you are using some like in our case, it happened to InfluxDB, where it had issue allocating in memory. Like even though like you only have like 10 meg of database file, you're gonna still complain about like there's not enough memory to do anything. So yep, continue swimming. Sorry.
So what else? Oh yeah. Uh, so this is the book I recommend it. If you get it, just know that you want to get the old version. Know that it is heavily on C#. Doesn't mean you don't have wisdom. It's just heavy on C#. So there's that. So another book I will recommend that I still try to finish. I'm taking my book reading very slowly.
Okay.
Wizard and the Prophet.
Oh yeah,
Go on.
I like that one. It's a
Yeah.
bit controversial. It's,
Yes.
but I like the analogy.
Correct. And I'm currently on the chapter about energy, and they are not wrong. Solar energy is not the future yet, but then the prophet is also correct. Nuclear energy is horrible in a way that people do not know how to maintain it properly.
I like the analogy where it actually opens my. It's actually not the book. It's actually the main title. Like basically the wizard against
Yes.
the prophet. Means prophet is we try to behave like morally. Like if you want to save the world, we should consume less. But the wizard are the people who,
Yes.
we must come up with something to solve this problem. So they are not
Yes.
necessarily mutual exclusive, but the way,
No.
like my framework of thinking previously was like it is mutual exclusive, and it actually opened my mind because there's a word to put it, like because you can now,
Yes.
there's a name for it, so it's actually easier for me to convey and also like to organize my way of thinking that way. It's not always like they always a reason and a profit way of solving a problem, especially society and environmental, all these real life issues.
Yes. So often among my circle, or maybe even in a way yours, tools is the only way. Not true. Uh, saving money to do things. Uh, Saving money to do things. Also not true. Believe it or not, also not true because uh, it's a bit more different because you can't suddenly tell poor people that you do not to save the world. You cannot have things that I have. So that's one of the moral in the book actually. So things are a bit more nuanced than just black and white. Because now I believe the world is gray. So yeah. So that's me lah. Expected
So
return. That's right.
a curious question for swimming is that what's your projected number of books to read for 2020?
I'm putting 50 because I want to do more things than read books.
So how about your sister? Do you have a book tracker?
No, I don't have. I don't really. I haven't read any book last year, I think, and I'm just not into like cover to cover books. So I have. So as part of our learning budget in my company, we have a subscription to ACM and
Uh-huh.
the ACM.org. I think we talked about this like one of the
Yeah.
first, very few first uh, sessions that we had, the podcasts we have, right? And
Yep.
along with the ACM.org membership is the Safari online access. And so instead of reading cover to cover, I just really go pinpoint what I need to learn at this particular point or what I'm interested in, and I read that part, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, because
Okay.
You know the orcs in World of Warcraft? Sounds good.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the thing
Okay.
is, I do not believe in that. Call me a book snob. No, I'm a book snob. Okay, I'm a book snob. But I'm in a belief that we should. Uh, it doesn't happen all the time because I believe a whole book. When people wrote a book, they do not actually want like one thing at a time. It's very likely that it's one whole thing. So yeah, you may pick point one of here, but go through the whole thing, then you can find it. But that is just me, right? Uh, I'm not always right. In fact, I'm wrong like most of the time. But that's how I read lah. But then I'm a book snob, so
I read I read mainly fiction. So for ideas and stuff, I mainly get them from other podcasts. So
Yeah.
I don't really consume that much of non-fictional, but all these brain dumps and stuff, I mainly got them from podcasts, other podcasts.
Right. So so yeah, I just can't agree with. Uh, I'm also a snob in the way that I'm also a snob in the way that people, when people say I hate books, I do not know what the hell they're talking about.
So,
Yeah, I hate reading.
what,
Okay,
okay.
I don't know what the hell you're talking
Are
about.
you gonna do you use Facebook? That's reading as well, sort of. Do
Yeah,
you read
but
Do you
and
read
also
your
it's scared.
message? Like, damn it! Stop sending me
Basically,
message.
basically, what scares me is because uh, one for Fahrenheit 451 scares me because when you only have one way to get knowledge, one snippet at a time, a la social media and all that, I don't think that's knowledge. You just things, right? You do not know things. You just know factoids. Uh, yeah. So every time people have like I only read books summarize or summary service to save time. Yeah, we are getting very close. We are getting very close to the world of Fahrenheit 451, except no bodybuilding books. Uh, and when somebody say they hate books, that scares me because in Fahrenheit 451, so that's why it's weird.
I don't think they really mean. I don't think they really mean that they hate books. I think people always
Yeah,
conceal something like. But just that we have more choices in terms of media, like just like not necessarily having to read a book, like even like just reading from a blog, like it's not necessary to be a healthy content, like just reading a Facebook post is reading. So
but then
and
Mhm.
they
you cannot.
they may look at me weirdly when I say I hate to learn,
Yeah,
but they just
yeah. You
so they
should.
look like what is wrong with you, right?
I,
So
opinion like I don't like video because it's easier for me to skim over content. Like if it's a text content, like video is harder for me
yeah,
to skim. Like just because of that. But I think I don't bring a name like Hans or Hans recommendation. If you want to go through a video fast, is to play it back at twice the speed. If
yes.
you want to go through like just go through it quickly and it probably or the way they convey is a bit boring. Yeah.
So yeah, just what it is now. So anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Anything interesting
No,
online on
not
chat?
for now.
There's
What
a
is
lot of
on chat?
interesting online for these days.
Yeah,
What is on chat?
Uh, Chris
Nuclear
Lowe, like
fission.
nuclear fission.
Oh, by the way, I corrected the link on that watch because the watch that link was wrong. It's a different watch,
Oh, okay.
so I put it on YouTube.
I don't think you actually put up a link. Oh, it doesn't show
Nuclear
up.
fission, fusion is good.
I think it's
So,
fine. Like as long as the technology is new. It's not that there's a black and white. Like I'm not a nuclear physicist, but I think there must be a pretty safe way to do nuclear fission as well.
yeah,
So it's just that unfortunately there are some uh, accidents, like just like some of them that happened in Fukushima. Is that those are accidents that they wouldn't have that kind of leakages if not for the unexpected. From what I understand, it was a what you call it, natural disaster.
hmm.
That, but else is pretty most, if you maintain them well, is pretty safe. So yeah, not gonna cover nuclear energy. It's a slippery slope of it's a slippery slope. I'm very pro nuclear. I'm very pro anything that's new because that's how we should move forward. Like, where I think we sort of being too fixated in the old way of doing things. I mean, not necessarily bad, but we should always like, especially like nowadays, food safety and stuff is like, I I I don't think it's that bad. Just just everything in moderation is fine.
Yes.
Yeah. There's something we want to add. Okay, I got something. You used an alternative of Confluence and Jira before. I never used none of this. We use Trello to track stuff.
We use
Yeah,
Pivotal
Trello
Tracker.
is-
Pivotal Tracker, like
Pivotal
an
is a
old school
well-known
one.
one.
Before
Pivotal Tracker
that,
is Pivotal Tracker is acquired by somebody recently, right?
no, that's a different Pivotal, not the
Okay.
Yeah,
Pivotal
Pivotal
Tracker
is
before.
acquired by
That's Pivotal. That's
VMware.
Pivotal.
Oh, okay, that's Pivotal. Okay.
The before that, Redmine is a good one.
Yep. I used that before many years ago.
Mhm. Yeah, GitHub Issues is also good. If you're like, if you want to like get everything onto GitHub or to GitLab, then their issue tracker is also quite good. But and the benefit of that is that you get to use their CI/CD infrastructure with your issues. So, for example, um, if you do a commit that fixes this, and then all of your CI tests pass and it gets deployed to production, and then the tests pass on production as well, then it automatically closes the issue. So you can do something like that as a workflow.
Yep.
It's quite nice. There's Monday.com, which is always being advertised on YouTube. So maybe that would be something that you want to try. Monday.com, there's Asana, there's Notion. I think our product manager is trying out Notion right now.
They did on which was interesting to say.
Yep. Anything else? Well, we can just close
I
it
was-
off then.
Yeah.
To the, it's okay.
Okay. Bye.
What? And